Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the Wombotster Monster here for another review installment. It's been about a week since my last review video, and I think it's time to put another one up. Since last week, I received in some more filament. On my last video, I showed some white plastic PLA from Hatchbox, some silver PLA, and some carbon fiber from Poto Pasta. So you've probably seen some of the time lapses from the silver and the white plastic. I got some pretty interesting prints. One thing I didn't get to show a time lapse of. Actually, I don't want to show much of that because I got a special coming up on that. But quick few things I'm going to say about my experience with my last two batches of Hatchbox. I got more plastic coming tomorrow, and I'm going to be trying eSun PLA. I'm going to just try some of their white PLA, see how it is. And I also got another type of wood filament from SaneSmart. I switched. I didn't get Hatchbox wood because they were out of it. I will say I was pretty pleased with the Hatchbox wood filament, but I gotta say I'm not 100% sure that it's the cause of the filament, but I do think it is. The silver PLA I got. I did not get very high resolution, it seems, with the prints, and for a while I kept thinking it was something with my printer, and I messed with it a bit, but after switching to the white, the resolution improved just after not really doing anything to it. So I think I got a not so great batch of the silver plastic. Try and find a few things to show you. So if you look, this camera's not great, but you can kind of see in here, there's a spot where there's a perfect smooth patch, like it was printing just how it should be. And then there's this black hatchy patch. And a lot of the prints seem to almost have these like little black, just more spacing in it, like black spacers in it than normal. And again, I kind of thought this was my print head kind of screwing up, but after some play and again trying it with the white, going right to the white plastic, pretty much improved it almost completely. Not completely, but almost completely. So I kind of think that wasn't so great. And then another thing that made me a little concerned with their plastic was the white one. Had this issue with the roll where it wasn't wrapped right or something. So none of their other plastics had this, but it had where it would keep the closest plastic that was coming out would actually be run underneath one strand that was that was supposed to come later in the next loop or so. And the other 3 or 4 filament batches I've gotten from them, none of them had this, but the white one did, and it actually caused one print failure and another catch, but I was right here and I saw it, thankfully. So it would have caused 2 print failures if I hadn't been watching, and it did cause 1. So I was a little bummed about that. But I will say overall I was happy with the white plastic. I mean, I got pretty good results. You can see right here, there's not a time lapse of this because I screwed up, but this is a file that I was looking for a long time. It's a longboat, like a Viking longboat. I really love this one. I'm going to be doing it in wood and staining it. That's coming up real soon because I got some wood coming in the mail. But as you can see, the detail on this came out quite nice. It even did like look closely here. See the design work here on the bow here coming up, and then on the dragon head. This was again after I thought the printer was messed up with the silver plastic, and I put white in and I printed this, and I mean it came out like this. So it has a few little flaws down here, but relatively nicely done. Came out real nice. And another thing I noticed with the last 2 batches of Hatchbox, I'm getting this warping effect. I know all the plastics are a little bit different and you got to play with them a bit, which I did have to drop the temp down, especially for the white more than the silver. But the white, I had to go down to like 190. I've been printing this Hatchbox black and blue, and even the silver at like 210, even 215 at times with good results. And then, I was just, the plastic was just pouring out of the filament or the extruder when I had the white, especially in at 210. So I had to go down to 180 for that, and I was getting some warping anytime it would go up on an edge, even on the edge of the print itself on the lowest level would warp a lot, which again wasn't something I was getting with the black or the blue plastic or the wood for that matter. A touch with the wood, but only when I was trying extreme edges. But so anyway, that kind of seemed to resolve a bit when I moved to the white plastic. I had a few. Here's a nice little ship you can see, but these sail pieces are extremely thin. They're probably, I don't even think they're 2 millimeters. They're less than a millimeter here, and even up here. So couple tiny strings, but overall did it real well. Did it nice. Like, even these masks printed with no supports, they printed well. Like, I was thinking of making a couple little wooden ships and painting it and see if I could sell it to some buddies or something. Just a nice little one like that, or like the longbow. I like that a lot. But so let's get on to my favorite print I did with the white plastic, the saber-tooth skull. It came out really sick. A few layer artifactings here and there, but overall the quality was very nice. I was extremely pleased with this model. Printed, it printed vertically. The time lapse won't go up for some reason. It's being screwy. You can see the fang one, but just to give you a good look at the model, this printed without the fangs, and then I popped the fangs in. I haven't glued them yet. I'm still going to glue them. I still have to print the base too. You can see there's a hole down here where the base goes, and it'll sit, right on my table on a stand eventually. But just for right now, I really like this, and I'm kind of glad I waited. I was thinking of doing this earlier in different colors, but I kind of held out for the white, and I'm glad I did. I think it's just looks more artificial, or sorry, it looks more official when it's in white and whatnot, But I really like how that one came out. I also printed, I didn't print the set right, but this is like a math toy that can help spin, like I have to print another number down the end cap, but you put it all over PVC tubing and it spins around and you can practice math. I was going to make it for my kid. Again, you can see some here, the print came out quite nicely. I mean, like everything came out real clear and clean and, under control. Couple other things I did with that. I printed another little white ship over here. Just another boat I found, a little thicker, a little more detail, like with the windows and stuff, but just screwing around with some ships. Printed mini hypercube without supports just to see that, and I was running low on plastic, so just looking for creative little things to do. And came out comparable to the larger one that had supports at the very least, if not a little better, with just a few strings. But again, pretty good overall. I gotta really start watching the overall quality of my files. Plus, I've been trying to do a lot more. I spent most of my day today, which was basically in vain, but trying to make. Here's a piece. You can see that my dog chewed up, but before it was basically two sides to this, about the same size, and it's supposed to fit in my weed whacker, and it worked for a very brief moment. But I didn't make these bridges here narrow or thin enough, and I had a redesign planned that I was going to do in carbon fiber, but I have to play with the file just because I've done it once or twice now, and it's tricky to rework it. So I'm working. That's a project in action, right now, which I'd like to get done, because that would be really cool to have a blade on my weed whacker. I can cut some of the bigger junk in my yard. But and that's one of the other reasons I love to have this and want to have this, is do something practical and useful with it, and that would definitely be a practical, useful thing, is help chop some stuff down in my overgrown yard. So that's the big thing for review. I wanted to say. So now moving on again to the more positive stuff. Those are some of the cool models, and now the awesome carbon fiber in action. As you can see, this has been going for a few hours now, a little over 3. I was trying to do something small. I should have done something smaller because it's going to end up being a 12+ hour print. I did read that it's more ideal to do carbon fiber prints, lower time prints, especially with what I have right now, which is just a standard 0.4 millimeter nozzle. It's not brass plated or anything, so I am taking a bit of a risk here. I could potentially badly clog or damage my nozzle doing this, because the carbon fiber has larger particles in it. I have read people that do it just fine and don't have too many issues, but they do recommend not doing extended long prints or really hard ones. And of course, I'm doing a planetary gear print I'm doing it at 50 micron layers too, because I haven't done a print at 50 microns, and I was waiting until I used a really high quality filament to do that with, and this is one of the first really high quality filaments I've used, and so I really like it. You can see the very nice matte finish. There's no warping. Another thing with the white plastic, I kept thinking it was me until I started this carbon fiber print. A number of prints, especially in the last few ones I've tried, keep having adhesion. There's this Nautilus gears I try to print, and it has a bunch of little. It starts with a bunch of little nubbins in the shape, and God, no matter how bad I glue or if I set my bed just right, that white plastic, it might just be my retraction settings or something, but it wants to just pull up, and half the Nautilus gear will print, and the other half the first little line of blobs will just pull up and they'll stay stuck on the extruder, and they'll just carry around the bed. And it happens with a number of prints that start in that fashion. Like, again, if it starts with a nice base, and most of these prints all started with like a strong base, it doesn't really happen. But with things like with especially that one, the Nautilus gear, and anything with that just starts with a few dainty, it just doesn't seem to want to stick. It wants to keep sticking to the extruder as opposed to sticking right to the bed nicely. Even when I have everything, the leveling set and the adhesion, the glue down, everything. So this carbon fiber, I've done 2 prints. I did one which failed because I fucked up the file, but this right here was supposed to be one of the discs to go in my weed whacker or whatnot, and it just ran the first time. And my bed has had micro mislevelings, if you will. So I've noticed with a lot of the PLAs, the other ones, if it's off even just a little bit, sometimes they won't want to stick no matter what you do. This carbon fiber, I mean, it printed all the way around the whole circle axis of my bed, all stuck nice, the whole first, this all, not a single issue, just stuck right down and laid nicely. And now this gear set too, as you can see, this is one of the ones when I printed the first planetary gear over here in silver. I had to restart this silver print a couple times. You can see some of the I think, yeah, no, this is the stuck side, where some of the edges are warped slightly. It's hard to see, but you can kind of see it at the right angle. And that was because that was what was happening. It would go to print this little star really quick, and one edge of the star would just kind of not want to stick to the bed, while the rest would. And I just don't know why the white plastic was doing that, especially the white, and the silver some too. But, and again, I thought it was my printer setup, but then I run this carbon fiber, and this gear, it just sticks beautifully. Like, it just, not a single lip of an edge didn't adhere nicely. So, you know, I think I'm starting to learn the hard way. You know, I need to pick my filament more wisely. And again, not that I've gotten some real nice prints and nice results from the Hatchbox, but again, I guess every once in a while you're going to get some plastic that's not as good as it should be or would hope to be. Because like I said, I did have one failure too from the white catching, and then just none of my prints of the silver plastic seem to have the nice resolution that, like, I meant to print a Pharaoh or a sword to really compare, but just even some of the layering characteristics of some of these other ones compared to how the silver laid down and whatnot, it seemed drastically different and much worse on the silver. And so, anyway, that's pretty much it. Just wanted to give you guys a good update and get you watch some of the carbon fiber print in action. Again, we got proto pasta, just in case you thought I was a liar. But stay tuned. I got more carbon fiber prints planned. This one's going to take through the night pretty much. Probably, hopefully, yeah, it'll probably be just getting done when I get up tomorrow, or just finishing around that time. Hopefully nothing happens throughout the night. I'm sure the roll will keep going nicely. I have faith in this filament so far. It just looks gorgeous as it lays down. And like I said, it's not a single little bit of warping or anything. Like, I was really starting to get some warping issues with the last couple Hatchbox batches that I had, and I just couldn't tell if it was the plastic or it was my machine, and I really just started to think it was the plastic, you know. So, because I have not seen a single lip of a single layer. Oh, wait, call me a liar. Is that one in the middle? No, I haven't seen any of the lips of any of the layers warp or anything. So, knock on wood, cross your fingers, wish you luck through the night, and hopefully I'll have a nice carbon fiber gear set in the morning. Tomorrow I'm probably going to try to do another lawn spinner set so I can mess with that a little bit. And I'm going to try and print something else really cool. I want to again use something durable and useful, maybe a carbon fiber knife, or make a scythe, you know, so I can go chop some bushes or something. I don't know. We'll see. Stay tuned. All right, thanks guys. Good night.